So this is a company that's at the intersection of like infrastructure and telecommunications. But so the question is, how can a network cabling solutions company improve its sales strategy? How can a networks cabling solutions company improve its sales strategy? I think the single biggest game changer for a company that does network cabling to improve its sales strategy is to start with a top-down CEO level buy-in that recognizes that going forward, your sales team needs to up its game tremendously in terms of the expertise that they bring to the table to its prospects and customers. So the company needs to invest in the professional development and continuing education of its sales team at a level like they never have before. So training and certification programs and ongoing commitment, role playing, the sales team being able to show up more as teachers and consultants and trusted advisors and less like transaction focused salespeople is much, much, much more important than you've ever done in the past. And there's third party organizations that can help with this if you don't want to build a program internally. Like Bixby has been around for decades. CompTIA probably has some interesting options around this as well at the intersection of networking. But like at the end of the day, what it really comes down to as a CEO level type commitment that says that when it comes to anything and everything having to do with network cabling, we want our team to be seen as world-class experts. And it's not just the engineers that are doing the actual work, the implementation and the project manager that needs to be seen as experts. Everyone that's customer facing needs to be seen as experts, the sales, account managers, the marketers. And it's just a matter of figuring out, okay, how do we objectively address these gaps in knowledge and education? Who's strongest? Who needs the most reinforcement? Do we have different levels of expertise? And more than likely, yes, because based on years of relevant experience, you'll have some people that are like at a PhD, MBA level with this, and you'll have some people that are at more junior level. But by taking the institutional knowledge of your most senior people and packaging this into podcast interviews and webinar presentations and working with the marketing members internally to have great printed content that are based on interviews so it gets the messaging right, you'll end up with your most senior level experts within the company. Then you'll have intermediate level and more junior level. Even the junior entry level ones, the marching orders basically should be that they need to be very enthusiastic consumers of your company's published thought leadership and your company's educational resources. So when they come across prospects and customers that are looking for this kind of information, they don't have to be the be-all end-all experts. They're just like the concierge or the tour guide, the tram driver that's driving them around the theme park, introducing them to all the great educational resources that your company has available to educate and build trust with your ideal clients based on having a relationship with them throughout the full buyer's journey, awareness and consideration, not just decision. The way most network cabling companies are still showing up is they're acting like it's still 10 years ago, and they're acting like their buyers have not figured out the self-propelled buyer's journey, which is just nonsense. When it comes to anything having to do with the data center or digital transformation, even your ideal clients that are in the later parts of their career are all using smartphones. They, for the most part, have figured out LinkedIn and YouTube and review websites, texting, all that stuff. And because of that, we need to show up where they are, not where we want them to be 3 to 6 months down the road. We need to actually show up where they are. And the way we show up where they are is we need to create this content, what I call conference grade content, where it's so good that it could go through a multi-level review process so like the editorial side of a conference decides that they want to have the best content at their conference possible. So from a competitive standpoint, there's no doubt in their mind that they're knocking it out of the park. So what does that mean? 8 or 9 months before a conference, you sit down and you prepare a title and an abstract, an outline of what you want to cover at that conference, and you submit it. And you're confident that it's adding so much value to their target audience, your target audience, that it's going to be accepted. It passes with flying colors. What's next after that is now that you've been accepted to speak at the conference, they put you and your bio and your photo up on their website and your session title and abstract. What's next after that? Maybe 6 or 8 weeks before the conference's advisory council wants to see your slides. They want to make sure that it's not an infomercial. They want to make sure that you're going to deliver a lot of value. So you prepare your slides, you follow through on what you promised in your abstract and your session title. You send in a couple dozen slides. You're like, wow, this looks amazing. The audience is going to love what you're going to do. And then day of conference shows up, you have the right people, right butts in the seats in the room, and you're looking around and you're like, okay, so there's a couple tests going on. One is, am I engaging with them? Are they participating? Is it interactive? Are most of the people that were sitting in the seats at the beginning of the session there at the end of the session, or did some walk out, or did a lot walk out? So that's one test. And then obviously the ultimate report card is the mobile app reviews. Did you get 5 out of 5 stars? Did people say, this is amazing, he could have got him for another half hour? By all means, invite him back next year. Can't wait to learn more. So those are the different levels of criteria that you'll go through to be able to achieve true conference grade content. Now, you need to be self-aware enough that you have these checks and balances internally so that someone is acting like the conference manager or your webinar manager to make sure that you're delivering value at that level, that if there were 3 or 4 or 5 independent checks and balances, that you're highly confident that the people that come to your webinars stay for the whole webinar, can't wait to bring their friends and their colleagues and recommend you to their boss, and are giving you 5 out of 5 on the survey and can't wait to speak to your sales team to talk about next steps. That's the level to be competitive if you want to level up on your sales strategy for network cabling to be competitive in today's marketplace. Those are the kinds of things that you should be thinking about for a network cabling solutions company that wants to improve its sales strategy. The lines are now tremendously blurred, and in order for your sales team to show up early and often, they need to show up as teachers, trusted advisors, subject matter experts, and consultants. It's no longer enough to just show up at like a transaction-focused salesperson who's just trying to make quota. Especially with highly technical, somewhat cynical IT buyers, they'll see through it in a heartbeat. So ultimately, these are big culture changes that need to start from the top down for a company that does something related to network cabling in and around the data center industry.